it was probably to Lawrence Taylor like being watched by God. Like, you don't want to disappoint God.
Yeah, sure.
You know, Lawrence Taylor was on the all Madden team. Madden loved him. Big hitter, great linebacker, Hall of Famer. You don't want to disappoint John Madden when he's named you to the all Madden team.
Right.
You want to come out and play hard and play ravaging football.
Put that coffee down.
I'm not here to waste your time, okay? I certainly hope you're not here to waste mine. So I'm going to keep this short.
Helen, we're both in sales. Let me tell you why I suck as a salesman.
Most valuable commodity I know of is information. Wouldn't you agree?
Coffee's for closers only.
Well, hello there, friends. Welcome back to the Behind Your Back podcast with me, Bradley Hartman, founder and CEO of the Behind Your Back sales company, where it's our mission, it's our passion to help you sell more, faster, at higher margins, and have more fun doing it. As for this podcast, we talk about leadership, personal productivity, time management, and the craft of selling in the construction industry, and, as you'll hear in this episode, selling in the industry of football entertainment. But first, I want to thank our sponsors, Capital One Trade Credit. We are thrilled to have them along with us as our presenting sponsor. Why? Well, because we believe in a lot of the same things. We believe in growing sales, reducing risk, increasing cash flow, and leveraging technology to help your customers build America better, faster, and simpler. So I'm excited to talk about one John Madden, so close as we are to the Super Bowl. And for this, I've brought one of the most knowledgeable, as far as you know, football enthusiasts who happens to be an employee we are proud to have on our team, Mr. Erik Rossi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Well, today, my man, we are talking about the greatest football salesman of all time, Mr. John Madden. So tell me, you
Careful.
predate me.
Careful.
You're a few years older than me, my friend.
I am.
I was not around. I was 1 year old when John Madden retired, but you remember when John Madden was a coach, probably one of your rival teams, because you were a diehard Steelers fan for some reason. What do you remember about John Madden, the coach?
Well, I'm not that much older than you, but I am older than you. And I do remember John Madden. I was a young child growing up in Pittsburgh. We would watch Steeler games every Sunday. And every time we would play the Raiders, who was a bitter rival, John Madden would be on the other side of the field, screaming and hollering, waving his arms around up in the air, acting like a clown. And, you know, we had, of course, football royalty with Chuck Noll, who was reserved, businesslike. So obviously, as an 8 or 9 year old, I thought, this John Madden guy can't coach. He doesn't know what he's doing. So I wasn't a big fan of John Madden at the time.
Well, I didn't realize this until watching the documentary, All Madden, which we would strongly recommend to a friend. But the Immaculate Reception was against John Madden and the Raiders. I didn't realize that.
Yes, it was. And no, I don't remember that. I was a little bit too young for that play, but John Madden, to his dying days, had an issue with that play. So many issues with that play. Did the football touch Frenchie Fuqua? Did the ball touch the ground before Franco Harris caught the ball?
Right.
Was it really a touchdown? Because the officials, per John Madden, were looking at each other and kind of shrugged their shoulders and signaled the touchdown signal and called it a touchdown. And Madden, almost every interview John Madden does about this play, he will be adamant that was a poor play, should have never been called a touchdown.
By the way, you introduced another little bit of trivia to me. The name Frenchie Fuqua, I've never heard before. John Fuqua, what was his role in that play?
Bradshaw got the football. He was scrambling around.
Yep.
He just heaved it up in the air.
Right.
Frenchie Fuqua was in the area of the football, but apparently the football touched a Raider player who was covering Frenchie Fuqua and went over to Franco Harris, who caught the ball clearly and ran for a touchdown. Now, if Frenchie Fuqua would have touched that football,
Yep.
the play would have been dead.
All right. Good enough. I'm pretty sure you can do an entire episode on this, but I think we
They
can.
have.
Anyway, so Madden, right. Yeah, exactly. So here's what I thought was interesting, Eric, as I was thinking about John Madden and when he came to the league and what most people, right, me included, I knew he was a coach. I knew he won a Super Bowl. What I didn't know was that he was essentially the Sean McVay of the 1970s. He got hired by Al Davis when he was 32 years old. He was the youngest NFL coach ever. He coached for 10 years. How many losing seasons, my friend?
0.
0. All right. He went 103, 32, and 7, which seems like a ridiculously high number of ties. My assumption is, was there no overtime back then?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that defenses were a lot better. So
Yeah.
if he did get into overtime,
I guess.
maybe it was tougher to score.
Yeah, that could be. He had almost a 76% win percentage, which is just, that's phenomenal. Like we were talking recently about the clown Urban Meyer and the leadership debacle in Jacksonville. And we are saying, well, you can imagine it'd be so hard when your career win percentage in college is almost 85%. That's in college. Significantly easier to win there than in the NFL. 103 wins, 76 win percentage. In 1979, at the age of 42, he calls it quits. And if you're watching the documentary, it's pretty obvious why. He looks like he's 42. It looks like he's 60, right? And you could tell that things aren't going well physically and something bad would happen. So he quits. What does he do next?
He decides to start teaching. And not only teaching the game of football.
Where?
University of California at Berkeley. And he was teaching men, women, how to watch a football game, the nuances of the game, the blocking, the tackling, the catching and the throwing, just everything you needed to know, because a lot of people just watch football and they just see the quarterback get the ball and throw it.
Yep.
And that's really all they see. It's either complete or it's not, or the running back gets some yards and that's the end of it.
Yeah, and this is what I thought was really interesting to think about is that you can have someone who is an expert in a certain domain, right? And that is valuable, and you can get a lot from this individual. And then you can have someone who is also very good at teaching. Those are two really different skill sets. And I would argue for a sales professional, let alone a mentor, probably anything else, if you have that skill set and you can be an expert and you can recognize that this person is really special and knows a lot of the details, and they can teach it well to make you more confident and smarter about your craft, that is a really special combination. And I think this is something that the best salespeople that I know, they embody that. And they make you not only really want to work closer with them because they're an expert, but also they make you smarter and they give you insights and they help you feel more confident about whatever little slice of life or the business that they're experts in.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Teaching people, giving them that confidence, not only in watching football. I mean, it would be interesting to see how many of those people that he taught went on to maybe even a career in football. I don't know. But teaching anybody and giving them the skills to do their job much better, it's life-saving for many people.
Yeah, so there was a really good article in The Ringer, which is, I refer to it often. It's one of the websites I kind of go to almost daily, kind of pop culture and sports, done by Bill Simmons, if that's the names you recognize, formerly of Boston. He was the ESPN sports guy. Anyway, he's got a really good website, and he had a guy named Brian Curtis, and he wrote this article. And Eric, I'm going to read part of this article for you, and I want you to comment on it. He said, it would have been impossible to create an institution on the level of Monday Night Football with a lot of insipid drivel about the 4-3 defense. Who said that? Mr. Howard Cosell. But Madden thought the 4-3 defense was great drama. TV just hadn't figured out the right teacher to explain it. He said Madden's genius was how he taught football. Those booms, that unbuttoned aura of a regular guy, right? All of that was an invitation to join him. It made Madden's classroom feel like a safe place where you could get a little bit smarter and the professor would never act like he was smarter than you. Madden was trying to find the most simple way to explain a complex game. He was converting passive fans into smart fans. And And for the next 30 years, Madden performed the same trick on TV every week. Yeah. And I love that because I think the best sales professionals, what we should strive to do is take something that does have nuance, that is complex, and make it simple and make people curious and want to engage with it more. And you, to some degree, you experienced the opposite of that. Howard Cosell. What do you remember from Howard Cosell?
Howard Cosell was a character in of himself. He was looking for great theater in a football game. He wasn't looking to teach anybody the game of football because that would be boring.
Right.
You know, we don't want to see X's and O's. We want to see drama. We want to see theater when it comes to a football game. Well, John Madden, he was a guy that learned how to teach football and also make it exciting and make you learn about the X's and O's. And the greatest invention was the telestrator that he used.
Right.
He would say, here comes the left guard pulling around to the right and creating a hole and hitting someone. Boom! The running back cuts up through that hole for a big gain. And he would diagram it on the telestrator, showing you the X's and O's and adding that exclamation point with the boom and making it be an exciting play. It might only be a 2-yard gain, but he got excited about the guard pulling, showing you the ins and outs of a play and where to watch a football game. The football game is won and lost at the line of scrimmage, and showing you that and making it actually exciting and enjoyable to watch a football game and when you're watching the offensive and defensive linemen.
Yeah, and how many people who've been watching football and then find them say, oh, yeah, look, we got a pulling guard, right? For folks, if you've been in football, a pulling guard, right? That is something that you learn and you understand that's important on a lot of different plays. For someone who's not in that level of minutia, I don't know what the hell that is. But once I explain it, it's not a hard concept. It's the guard is coming around and running around and going to hit somebody, generally a linebacker, right? But once you do that, all of a sudden you're like, aha, now I know some of the nuance and I can learn some of this vocabulary that before you, teacher, explaining it to me was hidden to me. And it made me feel dumb or, it was intimidating. And that's what I think is really powerful for not only John Madden, but teachers, for the best sales professionals as well.
Yeah, in football, it helped you to watch the game and bring more clarity to the game because maybe before that, you saw the quarterback hand the ball to the running back and he went ahead for a 2-yard gain. Right. You didn't see anything else. But now you're looking, okay, well, here, the guard is pulling, creating the hole for the running back. Here's a guy in motion. There's a guy on the defensive side that's going with him. So they're probably in man coverage.
Yeah. Exactly.
Things like that. And he made it exciting. He made it insightful watching a football game.
Yeah. And I think what he did really well, too, if you watch the documentary and read some articles about the history of really elevating broadcasting of a football game, is he told the guys who are managing the camera, if you just show a clip zeroing in on a running back or a receiver or a quarterback with a football, expect silence from me. Why? Because so much more is happening. And if you're not explaining how we got here, you're doing a disservice to the audience. So he really challenged the assumptions about how the game of football was even televised. And obviously you can say as well, he was a Super Bowl winning coach and he was a force of personality. What can I do? I would also say that's a form of leadership, is saying, hey, we're looking at the wrong thing. Or, to use the metaphor, right? Widen that aperture. Let's take a larger perspective of what's happening. Let's think about the broader picture here. I think there's a lot of power in that.
Well, Bradley, let's jump to John Madden's 3 rules. And they make so much sense.
Sure.
Like they're simple, but yet they're powerful. Rule number 1, simple, be on time.
Be on time.
Rule number 2, pay attention. Rule number 3, work hard. You do those 3, you're going to go pretty far in life.
Yeah, I am trying to do better. I've made a commitment to you. I've kind of fallen into this trap where I kind of show up late to their meetings or whatever. This idea, Mr. Jim Sobek, who's a frequent guest on the show, CEO or I guess chairman of New South, this idea of calendar integrity, I think is really powerful. And that's really stuck with me. And I'm trying to do better, manage my own time more efficiently. But 3 simple rules, but especially for sales professionals, be on time, pay attention. And I think this is really observe and listen more than you speak. Salespeople are way too excited to come out, tell our story, tell the brand story, talk about our product knowledge we've learned, talk about different products and all this, when really ask intelligent questions and then shut up.
Yes, you have to listen.
Right? Yes. And it's so simple, but I think that be on time, pay attention, and work hard was great. And that had me thinking just about when they talked about the Madden cruiser, they said he was never in a hurry. And they showed him talking to these people at these random diners in the middle of Wyoming. And when I think about being in a hurry and knowing how to connect, I think there's a link there. And there's this phrase that I love that inevitably we're going to put it on a hat or something like that. I'll find a way. But it's this idea of no hurry, no pause. And no hurry, no pause. I forget where it comes from. I stole it from somewhere. But the idea is that when you are in a hurry, you miss things. And especially if you've ever been around a sales professional, Erik, who's in a hurry, you can tell that. And it's stressful, as opposed to you're the most important person right now. I'm going to be where my feet are. And I'm just listening. I got time, all the time in the world. And I want you to know you're the most important person to me. That's the no hurry part. The no pause is I'm going to be persistent. I'm going to be relentless. And we're never, ever, ever stopping. We're not going to hurry, but we're never stopping. No hurry, no pause. That's immediately where my mind went. And that's something that I kind of strive for.
Yeah. And it boils down to, enjoy the moment, enjoy the journey, but don't stop moving forward. Keep going. But hey, stop and smell that rose.
Yeah. Right.
Enjoy the people that you meet, make connections, but don't stop. Don't put your feet in quicksand. Keep moving and keep that journey going.
Yeah. And I think they actually said that. They said that's what he does. He does a really nice job of stopping to smell the roses and enjoy the ride and just, and I think that's really hard, especially in this environment. We got the pandemic and we have supply chain issues and we have pricing volatility and we have back orders and certain window lines are taking 88 weeks to get here. Like, I know it's a really tough time. And yet, hey, the fact is, we're waking up every morning. Find a way to enjoy what you're doing or be willing to make changes. Otherwise, hey, life's too short for this, It
is. And just on a side note, you hear about players who have won championships. Mm-hmm. They don't really talk about the championship game. They talk about the journey. Yeah. They say it's not the game. It's not the Super Bowl. It's the journey to get to that Super Bowl that they'll always remember.
Yeah. I want to ask you, did the part with Melissa Stark, what did you take away from that?
I thought that was a fun little segment. Melissa Stark made a bond with John Madden, and they really connected. They had this connection where John was actually kind of almost like a mentor to her, and she learned a lot from John Madden. And he was there as a leader, teaching her.
Yeah, and she said, he was so sweet and so gracious, and he said he gave me so much confidence. She came in her mid-20s, and gosh, you see her and she looked like she was 21. And obviously, for any of these sideline reporters that are generally women, you can imagine with so much testosterone on the field, but also through the entire ranks of any sort of large corporate bureaucracy, which the large television companies certainly are, and then you fade in sports. I can only imagine how tough it is. And anytime you can have someone say, this person gave me so much confidence and encourage me to be more and to do more. Again, that's the sort of stuff that literally changes lives.
Yeah, it was John Madden being a leader, taking her under his wing and teaching. And he did this a lot. It wasn't just Melissa Stark. He did this to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But this is one example. Teaching them the game, making them feel comfortable enough to do their thing and learn the game and grow from it.
Yeah. What did you think of one of Lawrence Taylor's final comments?
Yeah, Lawrence Taylor said John Madden made him a better player when he was announcing a Giants game.
Take a moment to unpack this. So here you have Lawrence Taylor, one of the most dominant defensive players of all time. He said, when John Madden announced the game, he made me better. Why?
Well, number one, it shows you the amount of respect that John Madden has in the NFL and the players. Number two, it was probably to Lawrence Taylor like being watched by God. Like, you don't want to disappoint God.
Yeah, sure.
Lawrence Taylor was on the all Madden team. Madden loved him.
Right.
Big hitter, great linebacker, Hall of Famer. You don't want to disappoint John Madden when he's named you to the all Madden team.
Right.
You want to come out and play hard and play ravaging football.
Yep. Yeah. And that's where what has me thinking is how you can make an impact and to whom you can make an impact, right? And to know that, and I think John Madden and Lawrence Taylor, their relationship where Madden really respected what he did. Now, if you remember, LT had some issues off the field, right? And he'd often miss practice. There were drugs involved, right? In New York in the 80s and early 90s, right? There's a lot of stuff. And I think he thought, I'm getting a lot of flack from everyone. And here's a guy who comes in and just says, hey, man, I see the energy and the passion and the commitment, the effort and the hustle and everything you do on the field. And I dig that about you. You got your own issues. We all do, but I see you and I want you to know I'm a fan. I want you to do better. And that elevated his game. But I think oftentimes we underestimate the impact we can have in other people's lives by being a fan and saying, hey, I'm rooting for you,
Yeah, and believing in somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Like LT needed somebody to believe in him.
Yeah.
With the issues that he had, and
Right.
luckily he's come out on the other side doing well. But John Madden was a guy that believed in LT. He didn't want to disappoint John Madden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think John Madden was so authentic there. But I think, we talk about this. One of our core values is long-term relationships with customers we admire. And I will often say this, I have a lot of conviction about it, and I want to come across authentic. is that I'm rooting for you guys. I love what you do. I love working with you. I want to see you guys succeed, and I want to help in any way I can, large or small. And, I think that's what he did too. He brought that, and he was a fan of these people. But I think sometimes, and maybe this is where we'll kind of wrap up, is I think about John Madden's, the way they close this. Do you remember what John Madden said as they kind of closed out as kind of the parting words of the documentary?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was like, whoa, I didn't know this.
Yeah, I didn't realize people felt this way.
Yeah.
And I thought, what a shame. Obviously, he was part of it. And if you're watching it, part of me was just this juxtaposition of the force of nature that I recall from him being in the booth. And he retired in 2009. So largely I haven't seen him since then, over 10 years. And obviously he was older. He probably questioned like how much longer he would live. Shortly after this documentary came out, he did die. My thought was, imagine if all these people, Tom Brady and Brett Favre and Melissa Stark and everybody talking about what an impact this guy made on their life. What a travesty it would have been if this didn't come out until after he died. And they said, you know what was amazing? Let's do a documentary on his life. And he wasn't there. It has me just thinking about, making that extra call to your parents or, for me, my siblings, or how can you go to the people that you can make an impact to and say, hey, probably don't say it enough. I'm thinking of you. I love you. I want you to do well. Just, how can we express how we feel to people while we have the chance? And I don't want to get too sappy here before we get to our Super Bowl predictions, but that to me really struck a chord.
Yeah, and it's something that you should do. As you get older, you realize that the time is limited. I'm older than you. We've already established that.
So old. So old.
But yeah, telling somebody, good job, good work on this. It's something small, but it means a lot to those people. Just saying what you feel instead of just holding things back. Because yeah, he had the chance to see and hear what everybody had to say about him. It would have been a travesty if they didn't get to say that, or if he never would have heard that from those folks.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Erik, I want you to know, having beers on a Saturday recording, is this work? I don't know. We're having beers. We're talking John Madden. It's probably work for you. It's not work for me.
It's
is.
Wait a minute. It is Saturday.
Overtime.
Didn't you tell me yesterday? Yeah, we're going to need you to come in on Saturday.
Just like Lumberg. Yeah. Office Space reference. If you haven't watched the movie Office Space, you should do that. But Erik, I appreciate you. You've been a huge help to this team. And as we got even more changes to make this podcast better, you've been a huge part of that. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man.
It's been awesome.
All right, here we go. Super Bowl prediction. So we are recording this the Saturday, 8 days before the Super Bowl will take place. This will come out shortly after you are hearing this in your current life. It's future for me. It's current for you. That's how this works. I'm talking myself through this here. So the Super Bowl just happened. We are unaware of this. Rams, Bengals, who dey, right? What do you think? What do you got here?
I'm going Rams 35, Bengals 31.
You are? Okay.
Yes.
All
I
right.
think it's going to be high scoring.
Would you be happy with that outcome?
I would be happy with that outcome.
You would be?
I am not a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
I figured.
Obviously.
Yeah, but don't you, and like, I feel like this might be, it's not a great analogy, but it's close. Like the Cubs and the Sox, right? I live in Wrigleyville for 8 years, and I kind of look at the Sox, I'm like, whatever. Like, even if they're good, they're bad, whatever, because they're the Sox, and I don't really care. The Bengals have been so bad for 3+ decades, but just because of their proximity to Pittsburgh, you can't stomach
They're
it.
in
You're
the same
conference.
division. No, I wish it would be 3 more decades before they would be in the Super Bowl.
All right, fair enough. I agree. I love the moxie. I love the confidence. I love the swagger. I think the best salespeople have a lot of that. Now, they also deliver, and they also are careful about, how they treat people. I think Joe Burrow, dude, I think he's a really special player. I do. I would love to see the Bengals win. Unfortunately, I do not believe they will. I think it's going to come down to a field goal. I got Rams 30. I got Bengals 27, but I would not be happy with that outcome. I'd love to see the Bengals pull it off.
You're wrong.
All right, fair enough. Time will tell. Well, that's all we've got. Again, think of John Madden, if you will. And I realize for a lot of younger people, my kids, for example, when I say, hey, do you know who Madden is? They're like, what? They know Madden as a football game. That's what it is, right? And they're loosely aware, say, whose voice is that you hear? Who's narrating? They're like, oh, I don't know. Is that a guy named Madden? Which is funny. But also, by the way, question for you. Do you know how much revenue the Madden football series has generated over the last, I guess it's been almost 2 decades?
I don't, but I'm going to guess it's about $6 billion.
Over $7 billion.
Wow.
So there's an entire generation of football players who learned football from playing Madden, playing the video game and understanding the plays. And it was really cool to see like Lamar Jackson be like, I learned football. I learned offensive plays. I learned routes from playing Madden. So I think, especially as we use technology more in the future, whether it's VR, whether it's AR, virtual reality, or augmented reality, keep in mind that there's a lot of different ways, especially this younger generation, but all of us can learn through technology. So I think that's important to say. But again, I would strongly recommend. It was really annoying. We get ESPN, we get Hulu, we get Apple. Anyway, I had to get the Peacock app and then pay like $5 to watch this thing. Did you do that?
I did not. I just went to Hulu or ESPN Plus and I watched it.
I get both of those. All right. Well, here's what I would tell you. If you know how to work your TV, which apparently I do not, you can just find it. It's called All Madden. I think it was 75 minutes. It was really, really enjoyable. But if you think about this and Madden being the greatest football salesman of all time, there's a lot here that I think we can strive to be and become more valuable to the people that we serve, we work alongside. So would strongly recommend it to a friend. As we close out, I want again to thank our friends at Capital One Trade Credit. If you are interested in growing sales, increasing cash flow, decreasing risk, and leveraging technology to better serve your customers, check out Capital One Trade Credit. Just Google it. You'll find some information. See if it is right for you. Erik, we're going to close out like we always do. You, my friend, are owed nothing.
Deliver value first.
Make it a great week. Go Bengals in the past. For you in the future. For me, does that make sense?
No.
I think we're done here. Thank you for listening. Cheers.